I'm joined today by Fiona Neads from Rolls-Royce. Hi Fiona, could you just introduce yourself please?
Hi, thank you. So I've been at Rolls-Royce for a long time, many years. I'm a chartered mechanical engineer, but I work now as a programme manager and I work on the Trent 900 engine.
As a programme manager, you must use a lot of project management tools. What's your favourite tool and can you describe how you use that in your work, please?
One of the most useful is anything that you can put a project in. So some people use Microsoft Project, the clue's kind of in the name. At Rolls-Royce we happen to use something called Primavera P6, but they both broadly do the same thing. So after you've decided what your building blocks of your project are, so you might have a work breakdown structure, you might have decided where your resource is coming from and who's doing what. If you schedule that, you put that together, that's what we call a project plan.
Is that like a Gantt chart or is that different?
Yes, that's right. Yep, so a Gantt chart can be one way of showing your project plan, exactly. And once you've worked out what your plan is, any software tool, as I say, we happen to use P6, is a really good way of having that in any form that can be sort of shared and understood by the group of people you're collaborating with on your project. And also, if you imagine a Gantt chart and you can see how time goes on, you might update it and see what pieces of work have started, what pieces are completed, what milestones you can claim, and depending on how your project's set up, it might be that when you claim milestones you can invoice for money and so on. So any kind of tool that allows you to see that clearly and share it with your stakeholders, whether they're working for you or they might be your customer, a tool that does that in a really nice way is really valuable.
You mentioned resources. Could you describe what sort of resources you're thinking of there?
So it can be sort of spending money on things. So say if you're doing a test, you might have to buy some equipment or hire a test rig or something. But it can also be people. So for example, if you're designing a modification to a piece of hardware, you might need a designer, then you might need some stress work, which might be done by a different team. Then you might need an aerodynamicist or some thermals, depending on what you're doing. So by resources, I kind of mean different sort of people who are going to contribute.
So I assume some of those can actually go concurrently.
Yes, that's right. So sometimes another thing, when you've got your program, you've got your sort of plan and your schedule in place, another thing that's really important to think of is how the blocks fit together. So yeah, you might have things that are in parallel. You might have something that's in series, so one thing has to finish before something else starts. Or it might just be that one piece of work has to start before something else starts. And it's quite important. The ability to kind of think through that is almost more important than what tool you use. However, using a good tool does help you to see where your gaps are. And once you've thought about whether things are happening concurrently or one after the other, you can think about what your critical path might be and where your key risks might be. And if you're able to develop your thinking with your project team, because you're probably not doing it alone, but if you're able to develop your thinking on that, then you might be able to find ways to deliver it quicker or maybe deliver it for a bit less money. And you can certainly think with more clarity about what your constraints might be for whoever it is you're delivering the piece of work to.
That's great. Thanks ever so much, Fiona.
Thank you.